Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly watch list where we go over all of our earnings, our news, setups for the week, what we're looking to take going into Monday morning, and overall a general assessment of the market sentiment and bias for this week and tomorrow morning. Starting off as usual with the earnings for the week. We're going to be starting with Shopify on Tuesday, one of the only relevance. SMCI Tuesday, going to be notable. We could see some big share shifting here. And valuation, and really either side is welcome, preferably upside though with the recovery rally that it's been having here for some time. Shop going to be a little more insignificant given the volume on the options are very low at most of the time, and this is a shit stock in our book pretty much overall. Aside from that, not a whole lot going on other than Coinbase. Coinbase, we could see some moves. It's just going to depend on what BTC Bitcoin ends up overall deciding on its sentiment and what it's wanting to do this week, and if we can actually see a decisive direction. Otherwise, for earnings, there's nothing else, guys. So going into news this week, starting off Monday, we really don't have any news Monday at all, pretty much, which is nice to see. Our best days are almost always Mondays with our best moves, our best payouts. So Tuesday, though, however, we do have at 8:50 a.m., 40 minutes prior to open, FOMC member Hammock speaks. At 10 a.m., we have Fed Chair Powell testifies. And then at 3:30 for any intraday SPY QQQ traders, FOMC member Bowman and Williams. So be aware of the news, all of you intraday traders, for any kind of new spike shift as well. So going into Wednesday, we're going to be looking at 8:30 a.m. core CPI, CPI, YY, looking at 10 a.m. We're looking at Fed Chair Powell testifies. At 10:30, we're looking at crude oil inventories. 101, we're looking at 10-year bond auctions. 12 p.m. FOMC member Bostic speaks, and then at 1:30, BOC summary of deliberations. Really after that, irrelevant information and news. Thursday, we don't have a huge amount of news. However, we do have some significant news at 8:30 a.m. core PPIMM, and unemployment claims. Aside from that, 10:30 a.m. natural gas shortage, but that's really going to be the most significant news for that day. Going into Friday, we do have at 8:30 a.m. core retail sales and then USD retail sales and 9:15 prior to open, capacity utilization rate and industrial production and then 10 a.m. business inventories So pretty decent news-filled week, pretty regular week, nothing stupidly significant. However, just be aware of Wednesday with FOMC to be aware of that, as well as a little bit of Tuesday as well for us morning scalpers. So going into the markets this week, overall, I'm looking at an overall bias up, more so upside. However, right now it's kind of difficult to kind of identify a certain direction with the heavy bounce we did have recently on that pretty notable wick there, or body rather. It's kind of difficult to really assess what we're going to be seeing here, but I do think upside is the positive sentiment here with ES here. Overall, if you go to any time frame, you can kind of see that this is starting to recover and go upside structured basis. However, we do have that more so 4-hour trend line downtrend that is structured up there. So this is going to be an interesting week. I do think we're going to see upside, and I think this is potentially a week that we could see a crack through that given downtrend on ES on our futures market. NQ following an extremely similar picture, obviously, of course, being the NASDAQ, seeing a very similar directional bias here with the way in which it's deciding to go. So overall, there's not a whole lot to say here overall in the markets. More so just to be understanding that this could go either way this week, upside. If we are looking at any levels here, we're going to be looking at more so the levels of 21,694, 21,800, the psychological level here. And then we're going to be looking at the more bigger numbers here, 21,900, 21,899, 25-ish, really more so is the level. 21,966, and that's on NQ. And then on ES, we're looking at more so very few levels in this range that I actually personally have. So I don't really have much to say about the levels here. Just really kind of similar to the other one with the bounce, 6,069, maybe 6,080 would be some. But overall, I really just don't have a huge amount of levels in this area. So personally, just going to be looking to see upside here overall. Going to the main watch list, really, really tight list this week. Nothing really screaming to me, outside of our primary watches here, our top three usually. However, I'm not a huge fan of NVIDIA given the range, even though the strength of the rally is there. The Friday 130 break showcased my point of that lack of continuation and follow through that it's been having a lot lately for what we do specifically in scalping. So personally, I'm kind of staying away from that. I think that Meta and Tesla, especially Meta, is bringing back its volume era that it had last year, early portion of the year, midway through the year. first, second, and portion of third quarter really shows that carry through of volume it has. So looking at Tesla and Meta and Microsoft this week as the main watches, and with BABA as a side watch with the Chinese relations and tariffs that Trump's recently implemented, this looks like it's a stock that could potentially take off because of the new tariff implementations and regulations being put in place by the United States. So looking at 355 here on Tesla as the main level here. However, we already are here pretty much 355.51. So prior to open tomorrow, I mean, let's just be real. This is going to be broken by then with almost absolute certainty. So even potentially 350 will be broken by then. So for me personally, 350 will be the watch here. Target 349. However, with the correct weakness, this will be a larger target. I will be looking at 345 here as the potential secondary target. 349 as an initial primary target. However, this, like I just said, could be already broken by then. We might be looking at 345 as the actual level. I mean, the weakness here is pretty significant with the correlation to the actual markets this week. So overall, we are going to be looking to see where this is at coming into Monday morning. I don't, really have an expectation of this at all to be at 355. So looking at really 350 and then potentially even 345 on Tesla this week. Going into Meta, the second main watch here, which I personally like just as much. These are A+ setups here, zero question. We're looking at an all-time high break here on Meta with an actual market structure, not just an all-time high break. I like this. So with this kind of development we're approaching here, it's almost designed into a bull flag here, and I really like the structure we're starting to establish here. We're obviously have a little bit of small 30-minute time frame downtrend here. However, if we can break this and hold above and see a closure, that's going to showcase some serious confirmation and strength divergence here of Meta to relation to that of the bias of the sentiment of the market currently with NQ and QQQ. So overall, that's going to be my level, 725 going into Monday morning, 726 as main target here. Looking not too much here, I never do. Always keep targets super tight and super smart, looking for a relatively reasonable percentage and risk-to-reward relationship there. Always looking to see a 2 or 3 to 1 risk-to-reward. So if we see the 726 break, this is likely going to be a 15 to 20% ROI trade, even on a Monday. That is a pretty big break. Potentially even 727 at the break if it has the right break. So it's just going to ultimately be down to the variables in the given moment. But overall, like I said, it's all about having a proper tight stop to the relation of your target. So that's going to overall be the Meta setup this week. And then going into Microsoft, this is a much lower quality comparative to that of my main watches here. We are looking at the 405 level here. If you bring this up on the 4-hour, you can really see this kind of structured here at a local bottom and the divergent weakness this has in relation to the market, like Tesla does currently. It is not anywhere near as weak, and it is not Tesla. So as a direct result, I'm correlating this with only probably a C-, C+ setup at best, unless that weakness starts to show its actual divergence more so tomorrow morning, and it just showcases that heavy weakness that just needs to step in that we need for this setup to be one of those higher ranked ones. However, like I said, it's still not going to even be Tesla. And so as a direct result, this is more of a C-, C+. 405 as the level, 404 is target, another dollar target here. Just to keep the risk in check, this would be a 15 to 20%, just like Meta. And Tesla looking for a larger target based on the actual range, the price range we're currently in. And that is why I'm setting the level like that. With Meta, I also have that level to not be too much of a large of a target due to the reasoning of it being an actual all-time high break. So as a direct result, we know this with all-time highs from backtesting and previous experience, if you've been here for long enough, to understand that all-time high breaks are relevant of the underlying, irrelevant of the equity or the indice, are going to have ultimately a lot of rejections. So they will have a breakthrough, but they will not have follow-through. And so as a direct result, we typically just scalp those highs. So it's like 725 for a dollar or two even, and then they're going to pull back, and then the actual equity valuation gain will happen throughout the day through a slow upgrind. But our main catch will be those big pops right in the beginning. So overall, that's going to be the three main watches. BABA, not going to go over it too much because it is BABA, but that's the side watch for this week. 110, looking at potentially 110.50, 110.11. Again, this is not something I'm exactly looking at taking, but I'm going to be watching it. And if it does approach with the correct strength, and perhaps the other setups don't follow through, and this does set up correctly with the right contract volume and approaches correctly, I will consider this. However, not at full size. I will be scaled down likely about a third or a fourth of my position on this to reduce risk. on this given trade because it is not Tesla. It is not Meta. This is not a trade to take more risk on. It's a trade to take less risk on as a direct effect of that. So overall, guys, that's going to be the watch list this week. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, let me know, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know any suggestions. DM me for any personal mentoring or one-on-one through Instagram. Same tag as on YouTube, Cobalt Trades. Any questions are always free on my DMs. And like I said, if you're interested in any personalized, actual mentoring to get a serious, consistent, profitable system down, DM me there, as well as one-on-ones for a singular meeting and singular lesson. Again, thank you guys for watching. Let's kill it this week. Let's be smart. Let's size accordingly. Let's trade as we know we should and be professionals at this and take this serious. And size accordingly, manage risk. And let's kill it this week. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.